Welcome to the Fantasy Q&A, where today I will be reacting and answering all questions related to fantasy football and all things NFL. It's a weekly video series, and if you have a question that needs to be answered, a hot take for me to react to, or a player you want me to dissect and analyze, leave a comment down below and follow the channel to see more videos like this one. Alright guys, I'm about ready to get started. We have about half a dozen questions here today, so let's just get right into it. The first question here is, Daniel Jones' Achilles recovery isn't the most crucial question in the QB ranks, but could have a massive impact on whether the third-ranked running back and the fourth-ranked tight end by ADP can return value or become major landmines. I actually love this. It's a bit of a base question about the Colts as a whole, because you're kind of covering three different players. You're covering Daniel Jones, you're covering Jonathan Taylor, and you're covering Tyler Warren. The way the offense was moving last year was unbelievable. The first 8 weeks of the season, they were the number one offense. They were one of the most efficient offenses statistically we had seen in many years. Daniel Jones was having the best season of his career. Jonathan Taylor looked like he was going to have a 2,000-yard season. Tyler Warren, possible rookie of the year, looked like one of the best rookies out there and a pretty good rookie year overall. And then Daniel Jones got the Achilles injury that kind of ruined their season and everything fell apart. But what people forget is that it was kind of starting to falter before that. We just didn't really get to see it because the Achilles tear kind of ruined the whole season before we got to see how it would really play out. But the last couple weeks of the year, when teams figured out as long as we stack up the box and stop Jonathan Taylor from running down the middle, then we can stop the rest of the offense. Daniel Jones started to have games where he was struggling more. The offense wasn't moving the same as they were. So even before the injury, there were starting to become question marks of how long could they hold on to this success rate that they had for their offense? Was it starting to fall apart before then? We never got to see that. So that's what makes this so interesting, because I don't think it's just the recovery of the Achilles tear. The most that can affect is his run game, which is a part of his game as a QB, and that will sting to lose that if he's coming back and you can see that he's clearly not 100% and he's not taking as many risks running or getting out of pressure. Injuries, season-long injuries, are not always what they used to be. He can come back from the Achilles tear and be the same Daniel Jones, and this offense could be not probably at the same level, but very similar to where they were last season when they were performing at their best. Jonathan Taylor can still be very good. Tyler Warren, I actually think, with the loss of Michael Pittman, some of those targets have to go somewhere. Some are going to go to Josh Downs, some are going to go to Alec Pierce. I think Tyler Warren is going to be one of the best tight ends in fantasy football this year. At least he's going to be close up there with Colston Loveland as number 3, number 4. But Colston Loveland's the one getting all the hype and attention. So maybe use that to try to get Tyler Warren just a little bit later. So overall, I think the offense might take a step back this year, but it's not just going to be because of the Achilles injury. I think that can play a part in it, but I think it might be part of a bigger problem, which is teams were starting to figure out this offense last season and expose some of Daniel Jones's weaknesses before the season was over. If Daniel Jones wants to go out and he wants to earn a new big contract, he's got to play around the same level as he did last year to earn that money again. Can he do it? We'll just have to see. All right, here's our next question right here. Same as every season, will CMC score 400 points this season or 4? You never really know. I mean, you can't, it's hard. I feel bad for saying this, but you can't predict injuries, they just happen. The only thing with Christian McCaffrey that people can follow is that it seems to be every other year he follows up an incredible healthy season with an injury-riddled one. So that's the only pattern you can really follow. The problem with how he could get hurt is, going off of last season, he was essentially their entire offense. The amount of pressure that they put on him, it's amazing he didn't get injured from how many carries they were giving him, how much of the offense was designed around him, because he was the only one that never got hurt the whole year. Now, if they are smart, and I know this isn't what people want to hear, but if you want to try to protect him, maybe have a change of pace back. Don't always have Christian McCaffrey on the field for every play. I assume every year they always draft backup running backs just in case someone gets hurt. But maybe you can use some of those guys like Jordan James or the newly drafted 3rd-round pick, Kalen Black. Ease up a little bit for him. Make it easier for him. Don't force everything onto him and, shore up those getting older joints. He's turned 30. He's turned 30. The chances of injury only go up every year with the amount of work that you're giving him. So if you're asking me if he's going to get hurt, it's very possible, especially with a running back that's had a huge history of injuries. Of course, there's always a chance. Of course, you can try to follow this pattern. I mean, but unless you're superstitious, you're probably going to draft him if he's there. If you like him more than all the other options, unless you are so scared of the injuries, you're going to probably draft him. It'll take some balls. It'll take some cojones. But you gotta pack it up. You gotta do it. You gotta choose him. You gotta draft him. I think I have him like ranked RB2 at the moment, but however you have him, wherever you consider him to be, take him because he's a great player, not because of the injury history. All right, let's keep this moving along with another question here. Will Aaron Donald come back, and what is his fantasy impact going to be for the Rams? Okay. If you want to know my thoughts on Aaron Donald, let me just say this. Happy for the guy. How do I feel about it? A little pissed off, a little bit scared, a little bit depressed. Have this empty feeling of despair in my heart. Why, you may ask? Well, because I am a Seahawks fan, if you don't already know. And here is a little Russell Wilson Funko Pop to prove it. I mean, I have a lot of other stuff that I can use to prove it, but this was the closest thing within reach. I think Funko Pops are going out of business, but we had to fight so hard to such a good Rams team, like probably the most complete team in the league. If they beat us, they were going to beat the Patriots in the same way that we did. Probably just as bad, if not even worse, because they are such a complete team. And they looked at this season, they're like, okay, we want a ring. Let's go back to our old strategy. F them picks. F them picks was their big strategy. And they went and they're like, okay, they didn't even have a bad defense, but they looked at their defense. They're like, how can we make this stupidly good? So they went out and they got Trent McDuffie. They went an all-pro cornerback to trade. And then they traded for Myles Garrett. And now they're bringing Aaron Donald back. I'm scared, man. I mean, okay, you know what? We already got our Super Bowl. I don't even care. We already got it. We got it. And that's what they're doing. They're doing all this because they want to do what they did 5 years ago. To completely screw the future to get the Super Bowl now, which is, if the Super Bowl is all that matters, good, do it, go for it. I don't have a problem with that. You just have to prepare for the consequences of it in the future. And you want to know what's the best part about that is that they traded Jared Verse off to the Browns, and the ultimate mantra to F them picks. He's probably their only first round pick they've had in 8 years. One of the only players that they've had with their first round picks, and they even traded him away just to get Myles Garrett. Now, how this can impact the Rams, in the simplest idea, is just the defense is going to be super, super good. And it's going to put the team in a lot of situations where they're going to be up early with a lot of leads like they did last season. A lot of bad teams they'll face, and they'll have big leads on them, and they'll lean on the run game. I think this will be great for Kyren Williams. I think this is going to be great for Blake Corum. Both of them, I think, are going to do very, very well this season. Blake Corum should be the best handcuff backup running back in the league with how he was doing last season and what he's probably going to do this season. Could there be a chance that there's a bit more of a split between the two? Maybe, but this offense is going to be in such good situations, and in most of the games that Blake Corum did well, Kyren Williams also did really well. So it's a 1-2 punch where both are going to benefit. And Stafford and the offense and Puka and Devontae. By the way, if they pick up Deebo Samuel, like I'm hearing some of these rumors, I will hate that. I will hate that. Got another question. This one says, Father Time is undefeated, but has it caught up to Derrick Henry yet? Personally, no. It has not caught up to Derrick Henry as of yet. We'll have to watch this season to see if it actually does. But Derrick Henry is getting to a point where he is getting much older. He is 32. He's going to be 33 by the end of the season. So he's getting closer to that point of how old is too old and when is it all going to fall apart? Because he puts so much effort into the care of his body, like $250,000 every single season, just focused on keeping recovery and stamina and just making sure his body is in the best possible condition to keep playing. A guy at his size, at his strength. The only thing that I find particularly interesting is that he's reached an age where the play almost doesn't matter, where they seem to be resting him and taking him out and limiting the amount of touches he gets a game just simply because he's at that age, no matter how he's performing, no matter how well he is on the field, that worries me a little bit, but not too much, because right now he is the closest thing to undefeated. It's not like he's going to do like Brock Lesnar to an Undertaker. He's not going to go 20-1. He's not going to be the 1-1 that beats Father Time. Father Time will beat him eventually, but I love Derrick Henry. He's one of my favorite players in the NFL the last 5 years. I will draft him and try to draft him every single season. I will keep drafting him until he inevitably lets me down, until he inevitably disappoints me, because I have that much respect for him. And I'm willing to keep taking that risk every year because I think he is an absolute steal right now. ADP wise, he's going outside of the top 10. More than happy to take a risk on a player as good as Derrick Henry. Could Father Time hit him this season? Yes, of course, there's always a chance that it can. Any season now, it's going to happen, but I'm always going to bet against it until it happens. Got another question here. Who will sign Diggs? Stephon Diggs, who is still out there. He is still on free agency, still looking for a team. Recently just came out and said he's the best wide receiver 2 in the league. Okay, so he's not totally delusional. He's not saying he's the best wide receiver 1. He's a wide receiver 2. So where would he go? I would want to say a team that doesn't have a big receiver, but I think in his mind, he wants to go to a contender. I think he wants another chance at a Super Bowl. I think he wants another chance at winning a Super Bowl. I think that's what matters to him most right now. The amount of seasons where he got close in Buffalo and he didn't get it. You know, if he didn't want that, I would say the Raiders, always a possibility because they need to throw to somebody and they have Jalen Nailor and Trey Tucker, so he could easily fit right in there. Wide receiver 2 is an interesting thing to say. The Rams are always possible, simply because the Rams are just the Rams, and there's rumors that they might be looking at Deebo Samuel, so I wouldn't put it past them to just go even further into just let's win it this season. I'm sure there are a couple other options. Oh, you know who would be an interesting option? I think the Packers could be fascinating. I mean, last season, people forget, they got Micah Parsons now. They still believe in their heart of hearts that they are a big-time contender, especially if he's healthy. So maybe they want to go out and sign someone like Stephon Diggs. I mean, they don't. It's just Christian Watson and Jaden Reed. And we don't have, you know, they got rid of Devontae Wicks. They got rid of Romeo Doubs. Tucker Kraft is still recovering from his injury. We don't know what's going to happen with Josh Jacobs. So this is an offense that feels depleted. And they need something, and if they want to believe that they can actually make a Super Bowl run, go after someone like Diggs. I think actually the Packers could be a very, I don't know if a lot of people are talking about it, but I think they could be a very interesting place to go. Or the Titans, simply because the Titans have a history of just signing old receivers. Let's see, last question here. What will Rashee Rice do next? Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. You know, I will always be happy with a good DBZ reference. What will Rashee Rice do next? What hasn't he done? Let's start there. What hasn't he done so far? Dude, there's not much to say about this other than just stop. Dude, just please, please. I'm begging you, for my dynasty team's sake, just stop whatever you're doing. Do you want to be successful? You are playing well enough to get a fat contract as long as you just don't get in trouble. Someone just like tape up his house in bubble wrap, lock the doors, put him in one of those straight jackets. Just like, if you just keep him contained off the field, just keep him on the field, have him live at the stadium facility, and we should be good and we should be fine. Just can we stop this now? I love you, Rashee Rice. Stop it. All right, so before this video is over, just like I did in the last video, I'm going to randomly generate an NFL player. Could be a quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, any of the main fantasy football fixtures. I will randomly generate that player and I will give them a brief breakdown into that player's fantasy value for this upcoming season. Today's player will be Omarion Hampton. How do I do this without making people mad? Because here's the thing. I am not a huge Omarion Hampton supporter this season as of right now. I think I have him ranked outside of the top 10 for running backs for me this year, but there's a lot of hype going into year 2 for Omarion Hampton this season, and I can clearly see why. I have a short coming up where I talk about this on Monday as well. Because I think what makes him beloved and why people want to invest in him is because of his pass catching ability. There were multiple games last season before his injuries, because that took out a huge middle point of his season, where he had 5 catches in a game, 6 catches, 7 catches, 5 catches. Like, there were a lot, big games where he just was throwing the ball a lot and he caught it a lot. So naturally, people are super into that, especially in PPR leagues, because why not? Of course you're super into that. As a runner, I think he's fine from the stuff that I saw last season. I don't want to take into account when they lost half of their linemen later in the year. I want to look, but even earlier in the season, it felt like he was kind of struggling to like really get it rolling, to get some momentum in some of those games, and it felt like he couldn't break any big runs out. But he got a little bit better in later parts of the season, especially with the line down, so that's encouraging. But I think people are really high on him because of Mike McDaniel, because Mike McDaniel came from Miami, where he turned Devon Achane into one of the best, most consistent, most reliable fantasy running backs of last year. And as long as Omarion Hampton can stay healthy, a lot of people assume, oh, he's going to be running this offense similar to how he did in Miami, which means Omarion Hampton could be just as good as Devon Achane, or within that same level. So obviously I can see it, people are super excited. And as I'm talking about it, I'm almost starting to convince myself that this could really work. But I can see it, bringing in Mike McDaniel could make him better. The line is going to be fully healthy, which it never was last season. You're getting Slater back, you're getting Joe Alt back, and you have a good center now. And when you put it all together, this could be a very, very great year that it could be very similar to like Austin Eckler type seasons, where he's just this dual threat that will always have consistent good production because you can always fall back on the third down pass catching ability. However, this is the Chargers. I think maybe this is unfair. This is something I always go back to. Something always goes wrong. They're just that type of team. They're just that type of franchise. Everything on paper this season looks like it could be the best season they've ever had. We say that every year, but this season in particular, everything is lined up to be good. They have the defense, they have the line, they have a good QB, they have good receivers, they've got a running back, they've got everything. But it is the Chargers, and you never know exactly what's going to happen. What's going to happen when adversity inevitably comes? What happens with certain injuries? If the line gets hurt again, if Slater gets hurt again, if Joe Alt struggles to stay on the field again, are we just going to have the exact same season we had last year? I think if he stays healthy through a whole season, he could absolutely do better than what I project, because I have him outside of my top 10. I think I have him as far down as like 12 or 13, because I'm personally not super into him. I am more into certain players at around that pace, certain guys that I connect with, like Chase Brown. I really like those guys that have helped me before, and I'm just not super into Hampton. But that's just me. And if he is good, I'm glad to be wrong. I hope I'm proven wrong. Remember, this is fantasy football, and there are a lot of experts that are around, but really it's just a bunch of people that make educated guesses. Football is one of the hardest sports to predict, and inevitably things go wrong. So am I going to be wrong on this? I might, and if I am, I'm happy, because I'm in a lot of leagues. I'm sure I'm going to get Hampton maybe in one league, but the problem is he's going to be hyped up to, I think, an insane degree by the time drafts really start to pick up. By the time he's getting closer to a season, I don't know if I'm going to be as invested, because I'm not going to be as invested as the other guy who is super invested. If you're high on him, absolutely go for it. Draft him. He is high risk, high reward. For me, I'm just going to personally stay back on that one. Now, thank you all again. If you want to support a simpleton like me, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time.